Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us on a Saturday evening. Welcome to the Rosslyn Park London Derby live throwback. You can see I'm joined by our DoR KP, our club captain Hugo Ellis, our winger Benji Marfo, one of our former players who was there on that famous night, Neville Edwards. Gents, good to see you all. Oh yes.
Good evening, how are we?
Cheers, Warren.
Good, good. I should have cleared that one. No worries, that's all good. But just before we get into our conversation, just to jog the memories of some of our guys, just to make sure they know what we're talking about. So this time last year was the last time that Rosslyn Park were on our pitch at the Rock, and we were facing our London rivals and the National League One leaders at the time, Richmond. They were 10 points ahead with about 5 games to go, and they'd just been on an 11-game unbeaten run, which had just continued against Canterbury. But still fresh in the memory was a great game at the Richmond Athletic Ground, which Rosslyn Park came away victors in 18-13. And it ended up being an incredible night for Rosslyn Park in front of a couple of thousand fans, and we got some great tries out of it. And these are those tries, just to jog your memory. Take a look at this.
This is it. Park versus Richmond, first versus second, a London derby under the Friday night lights. It does not get any better than this. This is the pivotal game, as a loss would all but seal championship promotion for Richmond, while a win for Kieran Power's side would really tighten up the title race. Richmond a tough opposition. Wins conditions tonight. With everything on the line, you will not want to miss this game. So Kyle Trainer reunites with Ryan Roach and Paul Doran Jones in the front row, while Dan Ladvinshire comes in for the injured lock, Sam Toomey. Mike Kovacic moves up from the bench into the back row, and there's a return for top scorer Craig Holland, whose kicking gave Richmond nightmares in November. Josh Ramadi is also rewarded for his try versus Chinner with a start tonight in a pacey back line. Arthur Ellis and kicking maestro Greg Loud are on the bench. Big drive, you can hear it, but a penalty won there by Richmond. Park going down too easily according to referee Nick Wood. Tom Hodgson, the man in the number 10 for Richmond. Can he find the mark? Well, he's straight down the middle, and it's a bit of a foregone conclusion, that one. The visitors take the lead after some seriously intense play from both sides. Ryan Roach, the man on loan from Ealing Trailfinders, got his first try for Park last week against Chinner. And a big quick one there, and there's another drive coming in now. Hugo Ellis comes in last, and they get it round the side, and they're still moving forward here over the 22. The Park train is moving here, and it's still going. They get towards the 5-metre line. Great drive there, they're still going here, ever so close now. It's going to come out, get Landers to try and drive it. Lewis picks it out, he wants it quickly, but it just gets caught on a foot. Comes out quickly to Holland here, tries to break through himself, and he's going to go! What a try for Craig Holland! Well, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again, and Craig Holland gets the try there. Superb move from the number 10 for Rosslyn Park. But this line out will go to Richmond. It goes all the way back. Who's going to get there first? Mike Kovacic will. Bit of a clatter there. Richmond keep it, but we're going to go back. Penalty to Richmond now. He finds the mark, and Richmond once again capitalise on an error from Rosslyn Park. Well, we said this was going to be a tight one. It's all or nothing really for Rosslyn Park. Richmond are not going to sit down. They're not going to sit and just let this pass. Dave Lewis getting caught in there. Doran Jones standing over it. He'll go for the line himself. And he gets it. Paul gets the try. The man who said, on your day, you're good enough to beat anybody when you're Rosslyn Park. And that has certainly proved the case here. Rosslyn Park have been monumental in this first half. And Paul Doran Jones leads from the front and gives Park a 6-point lead over Richmond in this London derby. Questions here. Gibbs trying to find the space. Comes out to the middle with Gibbings, but Lavenshaw hauling him to the ground. Mulcrone trying to step over, but just stops by Lewis. And now you just feel they're in the 5 metre line now, and Litchfield picks it up. Gibbons standing over it. They're still going here. They are very close now, within a couple of metres. But Trainer just standing in the way. And it's a pulled out. And Hodgson easily finds the mark from 10 metres out. Park needs to be at every ball, and they do get that one. Alvarez battling for the ball, but he will just stay in Richmond possession. Walford looking to go pick and go. Laventure staying to the 125 kilo forwards. We're going back. Another penalty for not rolling away. And that goes against Stuart Maguire. Well, that takes them up to 6 for the game. The fly half for Richmond. He's been one of their best performers today. He does find the mark. 2 points now. Richmond are behind Rosslyn Park. The question is being asked of Park. They need an answer, and they need it soon. Roach to put another ball in at the line out. We've had about 14 line outs for Park, and they've won every single one of them. The drive comes again. Here we go. Hugo Ellis at the back. He gets it over the 10 metre. He wants more from his pack. He's got it around the outside. He's going to break away, and he feeds it inside to Dan Laventure. He's going to step inside. He's going to go all the way here, and he's done it. Dan Laventure gets the third try for Rosslyn Park. The final breakthrough. Could that be it? Rosslyn Park's Dan Laventure may have just made a monumental try in this National League One title race. Phenomenal stuff from Rosslyn Park. They've been right on the back seat throughout this half, but they've come out again. And Dan Laventure coming back into the side, coming in for Sam Toomey, delivers for Rosslyn Park with about 7 minutes to go. That is absolutely massive. Lewis feeds Galanders, the man who has battled through all his injuries. He's been like Bastian Schweinsteiger in the 2014 World Cup, but the kick comes out now. Pandemonium for Park in this massive London derby. At a rocking rock, the party has started for Rosslyn Park here. Amazing scenes, amazing game, amazing performance from Rosslyn Park.
Well, what a night it was, and that was almost a year ago now. Lads, just going clockwise from KP, if you could have one word to describe your emotions thinking about that night, reflecting on it, what would it be?
The week before, we just lost to Chinner in the dying moments, and we'd had a couple of injuries, and it just felt like it was probably it was the last dance of our chance, as Michael Jordan might say, our last dance to have a chance of having a crack at Richmond and win the league. And I think we all knew that week, and we got fairly focused on the game. We had a few injuries, it was a bit nervy, but we sort of focused in and said, right, this is it, let's give it a crack and go full metal jacket 100% and see where it takes us.
Got a lot of film references in there, KP. I like it. That was good. Lads, Benji, Hugo, and then back on that London derby, just before we get into this.
One word. Wow.
It's a tough one.
Go bouncing.
Very good, very nice. I mean, let's get into this. I mean, KP, you talked about that Chinner. 2 tries at Chinner came really such a close point to the final whistle in that game. How did that impact your preparations for the London derby?
I lost you there a little bit, Warren, but
oh, sorry. Do you want me to repeat?
With Chinner really just came and sort of impacted us, where we sort of thought we were in control of the game after playing into the win in the first half against Chinner, and we thought we were in control of the game, and it sort of, took the wind out of our sails really that second half. And then leading into the Tuesday, we were all sort of still a little bit wounded from that loss, but we had to park that quite quickly, because in semi-pro rugby in Nat 1, a Friday game is unusual, so you have even less time. So we had to really just think about what we had in front of us and the task about it, and we took to it, and we knew we had the beating of them within our side and within our group, and it's quite a special group we've got, really. When we get on the pomp, there's not many teams that can stop us, and we knew, and from experiences before, a big crowd at the park, it was going to be a special night, and we're all looking forward to it. And I think it was a lot of nervous energy come Friday afternoon with people in work all across southwest London.
It certainly was. It was such a memorable night. But in the build-up to that, of course, you had a couple of injuries you had to deal with as well. I mean, you must have been sweating on those a little bit. I mean, Arthur was a late fitness test as well.
Yeah, well, Arthur's a big player for us as long as long as he's fit and he keeps his head. But it was one of those ones that week where the lads that came in sort of had trained in the positions, we'd done all the work, and we thought, well, look, let's give him a chance on the Friday night. If he is half fit, we can have one of our better players, coming off the bench and be a finisher, as they call it now, and really have an impact in that second half. Probably, hopefully, see us home, and that's how it was.
It was even better, I think, actually having him on the bench, because he had his whole office and all his mates down to watch, and he promised them a hell of a show, and he had to come off the bench for 20 minutes. So it was great to see him play a little bit part role at the end there.
He certainly was. Hugo, I mean,
he wasn't happy.
he did do well in the end. I mean, Hugo, in the build-up to the game in that week, obviously you'd beaten Richmond already. You'd beaten them at the rack. I mean, what were you saying as the captain to the boys, like in preparation on the Tuesday and Thursday sessions ahead of the game?
Yeah, I think those kind of games, it's funny. It's irrelevant what I say, because if you're playing in National 1 and you can't get up for a big local derby on a Friday night in front of all those fans, you see those pictures of the Rock now. It's great to see how bouncing it was then. If you can't get up for that, then there's no point really playing in National 1 for those games. So, it was a very easy job as a captain to get boys motivated for it. Like you said, we'd beaten Richmond before earlier in the year. Everyone was very excited about it. We've got historically a really, really good record against Richmond. I think, I've been at the club 8 or 9 years. I think I've only lost to Richmond once. So, it was just one of those where everyone was buzzing for it. Everyone was desperate to play. And it's just about making sure boys don't get too excited, don't go too over the top and lose their discipline and stuff like that, and just rein them in and make sure everyone's focused on the job at hand, really.
Benji, when that Richmond game in November, we were in the commentary box together, but of course you got yourself back into the senior squad. You were getting some really good tries as well. It must have been great motivation for you to get out on the pitch there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Watching that game, I think it was November away at the Rec. It was great to be up there in the commentary box, but looking at the boys on the pitch and in the change rooms after, kind of I know where I'd rather be. So it's good to be both great performances, but it's good to be part of the home win as well. And credit to the double on them, home and away. And like KP said earlier, we like to think that if the season had been seen out, we probably might have been able to pick them towards the end. We'll never know, but we gave it a good shot at least, so we can't complain from that side.
Certainly not. There weren't many complaining on the night, I'll tell you. Nev, when obviously the build-up was great to the night, but as a player, when you arrived, I think it was like a couple of hours before. I mean, it was about 6 o'clock. You were arriving at the ground. What was going through your head at the time?
Well, luckily for me, I had the day off work, so I was kind of at home chilling out and thinking about the game a little bit, but not too much. And as I rocked up, it was already quite busy. So we all knew it was going to be a really big night for the club. Shabs had told us that there was going to be quite a lot of people there and everything. So it's just kind of a thing of get our minds on the job and let's get out there and enjoy ourselves in front of a decent crowd at the Rock. Yeah.
KP, when in those warm-ups as well, the crowd was already building at that point. Was it a case of just letting the boys get into their zone, as like Nev was saying, or did you have some words for the boys before they went out on the pitch?
Well, everyone could feel the atmosphere, and when you're seeing the lads walk in, you can stand in the office there sometimes, and I've often predicted to the boys when Jack Gash walks in the door and he's got a bounce in his tail and stuff like that, or a smile on his face, we're in with a good chance of winning. So you could feel the atmosphere in the group. There wasn't much that needed to be said. All we needed to say was, this is our chance of having a crack at them. It's empty the tank. We've got a week off after this. Little did we know it'd be a little bit longer, but we just went at them with everything we had left.
Yeah, and I think before we get on to the point of actually what happened on the pitch, I mean, the first try was a brilliant driving maul, as we've already seen, and then Holland just took the step inside, then back again, straight over the line. I mean, Hugo, from your perspective, you were really close to the try at that point as well, because I think Landers had just he'd just taken the ball out the maul. I mean, it seemed like Park didn't put a step wrong in those opening minutes.
I just lost you at the end there.
Oh,
again, Warren.
I'll repeat that. Yeah, I think my internet is. I'm having a battle with my internet. But yeah, on that first try that Craig scored, it seemed like Park didn't put a foot wrong in those opening minutes.
No, I think we started really strongly. I mean, for me, the most pleasing thing, I think, when you play those big games, your physicality has to go up a notch from even the normal run-of-the-mill National One games, and I think certainly we did that in those opening minutes against Richmond, and I think within 5-10 minutes they would have known that they were in for a real tough physical battle all night. But Craig's a real threat from 10. He's got a very complete skill set, and it's great to see a 10 like him who can attack the line at any given moment. It's got the pace to really take a gap when it's offered to him, and he was fantastic. He's been fantastic for us ever since he's come to the club, and it was a great moment to get over the whitewash there.
Absolutely. Benji, Nev, was there a slight little bit of jealousy that he didn't play it on to you guys out wide?
Yeah. I think when you're playing outside Craig, there's always the risk that you wouldn't release the ball as much as you want, but like Huggy says, he backs it up 9 times out of 10 with finding a gap and going through it. So you can't have a moan. He's been great for us in the last season. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like if it gets past Joe Monroe, then I'll be surprised. But it's times when you're playing the back three, but it was a really good try, and like Hugo was saying, Craig has been awesome for the club since he's joined. So long may it continue.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a couple up to that point. There was a few kicks by Richmond. They did have something to say, but just before half time was when Dozer went over after a great set of phases. KP, you must have been quite proud of the attacking phases that you saw from Park just before half time.
I mean, it's becoming a thing now, isn't it, really? We see a trend of the pick and go game in the 22. I think the pleasing bit was us being up the right end of the pitch and how we got up there. And if we go back to the majority of the game, we spent most of the time and most of the territory was probably on our side and always in the Richmond half. And that was the positive thing. And we knew they had a little bit of a weakness from around the pick and go. We knew they had a weakness from the catch and drive. And the idea was, let's get up there, let's squeeze the pressure on. As Hugo said, we'd up our physicality. We knew we could match that or outpower them, and in the end, someone like Dozer getting over goes to show.
Absolutely. And then that took us to half time. Anyone can jump in on this question. What happened at half time in the changing room? Anyone? KP, why don't you take it?
Well, for once, I didn't lose my cool. I didn't. There was very few swear words from me for once as well. So it was we knew we had the game. We knew we were in control. And to be honest, the way we'd analysed them and from the game previous in that season, we knew that we could control them defensively because the pattern of how they play was easy to contain if we made our first up tackles. And it was just about us making sure we played the right end of the pitch. And as I said earlier, we were doing that very well. I think a little bit in the second half, the referee might have tried to even things up because we got the rubber green with him in the first half, and they got a few more penalties back and got within a little bit of an earshot of us. But we had most ball, we had possession the majority of the time and territory, and we kept it that way and just kept the pressure on them. And realistically, we might have had all the points, whatever, but we had the scores and we knew we could do that. And it was a fantastic sort of assist by Hugo to get Lav in the corner off the back of another driving maul.
I'll definitely come back to that one. I've just remembered though, because Benji, of course, is the changing room DJ, as I understand it. He always has the music choice. What was the music choice for the London derby?
I think it always starts with a bit of Drake. That's the lucky omen for me. It's kind of a selfish thing. I don't really care what anyone else thinks. And then just a bit of house music. And then into a few of the classics after the game.
It did the trick.
It's quite funny because every game, it will start off with a bit of house at some point to kind of build everyone in, and then I'll say to him, Benji, when's the rap coming on? So that's like a little running thing that we always used to have, every game.
It certainly worked on that night. And KP, just coming back to your point, obviously the big moment I think we all remember is that try. I mean, Hugo, talk us through what was happening right in the middle of that driving maul from when Roche threw it into Lab jumping over the line.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you I think we realised it was a critical moment in the game, and you know, it's about execution. When you get down into the opposition 22 in big games like that, you're not going to get you know, lots of chances down there. So the few times you're down there, you've got to really make it count. So, you know, we executed a good driving maul. I'm always selfishly trying to position myself at the back to try and you know, steal the tries or have a little look what's going on, and yeah, just, you know, I just had a little look like they were a little bit short on the short side, and had a crack at it, and Lav ran a really good support line and a really great finish from him as well. So it was a great try, and I can remember it was pretty manic scenes in the corner there, and right in front of a load of the fans, and it was a great moment. And I think from there, that really just gave us the confidence we needed to just sort of close the game out, really.
Yeah. KP, I saw the bench going absolutely nuts at that point as well. That was just the overriding emotion, just that euphoria, I imagine.
It was a case that the game, we felt we were in control of the game, but that was the ceiling moment, if you know what I mean. There was a few minutes left on the clock. They clawed back with a few penalties, and it was the one where you just felt relief a little bit of getting the win, and everyone was smiling. And of course, those who sat on the sideline quite close to me know it gets a little bit maybe heated and emotional at times. So yeah, I think we all started up, nearly did a Mourinho charging down the line. So,
I wish you'd done that, KP. That would have been brilliant.
It was pretty close. I nearly knocked out Ferg with a bear hug, but yeah, it was highlight of the year, as well as winning at their place as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Nev, what was when you saw that try go over the line? What were you thinking at that time?
Yeah, I was buzzing, to be honest, because it was a pretty crucial time, and Hugo made like a nice little break and offloaded to Lav, and it was quality. Like, we were all just buzzing because we knew there was a little bit of a gap there, and we can kind of not rest on our laurels but relax a little bit, and just continue on with the game. So yeah, no, I was absolutely buzzing all the way back at 15 as well.
Now, Benji, this is just a moment of curiosity for me, and forgive me if I might be overstepping here, but on the highlights footage I realised I caught your little scuffle with the Cameron Mitchell, I think the captain of Richmond. What started all that? What happened there? Was that all heat at the moment?
Yeah, I think because the forwards have been dominating that day, so all credit to them, and you know, we won that game because of them. So I felt like I needed to get stuck in a little bit either which way. So I think when Lav scored, I kind of just ran in and patted a few heads. The Richmond lads who I know from back in the uni days, they didn't take too kindly to, but it's always good to wind someone up from, you know, the other side of the borough.
How big is that? It was certainly a heated derby, and then when that final whistle blew and that celebration came in, just before we go on, I just want to remind you about a moment that I'm sure you guys have been part of many times over the last couple of years, but for anyone who hasn't seen it before, this is of course the very famous Rosslyn Ranger. Just have a look at this.
not just.
Absolutely, no, it was brilliant. It was really good. Just going back over a couple of things. I've just just got a few comments in, which is all good. It's good to see people listening in. Do keep your comments and questions coming in. I think we've got a couple for the guy. I think what we'll just do to wrap up this bit is just go round, starting with KP and going Benji, Nev, Hugo, to say what have you actually been up to since that day at the Rock?
I was waiting for a couple of weeks to see if this COVID thing might pass, and obviously it didn't, and we were cruising around. So obviously I got on with standard day-to-day work. Apparently there's no sound at all.
It's all right. I've got it sorted. That's okay.
Okay. So literally just got on with standard work. Was pretty gutted for a little while when the RFU came out and did their algorithm, which was the same algorithm that upset thousands of people with their A-level and GCSE results as well. So they got that wrong and got our league position wrong.
You're holding on to that, KP.
Yeah, you've got to get over that. I mean, they just got on with the summer, and obviously we then thought really we'd get back to training and stuff like that, but things were just really sort of weird for a little while and it wasn't the same. But cracked on. Have now become qualified barista. Looking at going into some form of a coffee business, and that's where we're at the moment in time, and trying to sell my house. So if there's anybody out there,
so put it up for sale. What's your go-to drink what's your best drink you can make, KP?
Oh, it's got to be flat white, isn't it? Really, that's the go-to. They'll be on serve when the boys get back for pre-season.
We'll look forward to it. Benji, what about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, the same old narrative as most of the boys, just working from home, trying to keep up some sort of fitness. So struggling through 5Ks, which is a bit painful as I max out at about 60 metres. So just ticking over. Obviously, with the new announcements in the last couple of weeks, hopefully we'll get back to some training. Even if it's light at first, get the boys back in, a bit more of a social aspect going again and into next season. And always have to give a shout out to Tim Blythe for sponsoring. Although the season didn't happen this year, he committed himself to myself and Henry Robinson once again. So hopefully he can get his money worth next season of actually a few games at the Rock.
He always refers to, whenever I chat to me, he always says Benji Marfo sponsored by Tim Blythe. He's a good lad.
Warren, I better say as well because I've just been kicked underneath the table here. I got engaged as well.
Congratulations. Oh, you got a date set at all? Has that, because those plans changed since the COVID plan changes, roadmap and all that?
Changed several times, but old Bojo's announcement, we had like a pre-booked hotel for it, thinking it was going to head. Bojo announces it next morning, first thing, 9 a.m. email drops in. Would you like to go ahead with your full-on wedding? So I think we're going to try and organise a wedding within 4 months, really.
Wow, well, fingers crossed.
A nightmare.
Fingers crossed. I'm sure it'll be a fantastic day. Nev, you've been quite busy recently, I understand.
Yeah, I've been very busy. I've got my hands full, so I've just had a little baby. She's 4 and a bit months old now, so that's been taking up a lot of my time. As it does, but she's amazing. Her name's Elodie. She's a beautiful little girl, and she's a bit of a handful. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. I'm still working from home, which has been good. I haven't really been out on the road at all, which has been fine. And it's given me that opportunity to spend a little bit more time with the little one as well and watch her kind of grow up, which has been great. And I've also set up a sport massage business as well. So I'm doing that mobile, and as I'm kind of classed as an essential worker, I'm still kind of going through that at the minute as well. I'm still doing that, so haven't really lost too much business, which has been great. So yeah, just enjoying it, much the same as the other boys, to be honest. And just looking forward to getting back out on the field and doing some rugby. I'm not like Benji. I don't run 5Ks for fun. You'll get me doing shuttles 50 yards tops. Yeah.
We'll hold you to it. No. We'll see on Instagram. Hugo, you're last. You go for it.
Yeah, not a great deal really. Just very fluctuating waistband and weight really. I'm sort of need a couple of months to get myself ready for next season. So it's good. I've got a nice long run into it. But yeah, other than that, just been working from home, etc. And seeing as Benji's doing a sort of Oscars speech shout out to all of his sponsors, it would be remiss of me not to shout out to the guys on Bad Boys Hill and Tim Vine and those guys who brought a lot of the energy on that night and on that Friday night at Richmond and often do at the Rock. They're great lads who get the atmosphere going. So thanks for their sponsorship this season as well.
Of course, very, very lovely words from you all. And breaking news, actually, we do have a question. Unbelievable. We do have a question. It comes from our very own Joe Napper, and it's to KP. It says, does this mean I don't have to make the coffees anymore?
I'll train him up. He's still got to do that.
You've got to train him how to do the leaf on top. I think that's what we want to see.
Oh yeah, all the art effects. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but of course on Hugo Sport, we've got to say a massive thank you to everyone who's got involved with sponsorship. We'll talk about that with our MD Dom Shabbo, who's actually waiting in the waiting room for the Zoom call. And just as I'm about to let these guys go, lad, thank you so much for joining me for a few minutes in this Saturday evening. I'll let you get back to whatever you're doing. Thanks so much for going over, reflecting on the London Derby, which was a year ago to the day. Our DOR, Kieran Power, our club captain Hugo Ellis, our winger Benji Marfo, and our former fullback and winger, and all manner of things, Neville Edwards, and who does an excellent massage. Guys, thank you so much. And we've just got a couple of messages from our sponsors to show you. Have a look at those. Involved. Right, there we go. I'm getting my mutes right eventually. Well, thank you so much to the guys who are involved. I'm delighted to be joined by Dom Shabbo. Looks like it's a very glamorous room there. That mirror looks very posh, Dom. Good to see you, mate.
And you, mate. Thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting tonight. It's been fantastic so far.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Now, just before we get into it, obviously all eyes were on the pitch at the Rock on that memorable night a year ago, but there might have been a few things that you may have missed. So we put together a little video last year, part of our Inside Park feature, to show you a few things that you may have missed off the pitch. Check it out.
You, man.
All of these stories that I live, my nigga needs
How are you doing? You're so well travelled. So well. Brilliant, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is what you want to get. This is the good stuff.
What are you?
About 10 minutes late, mate.
No, I'm just making sure, mate.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rock. For those of you that are still queuing up to get in, then you better hurry up because kick-off is just 25 minutes away. I see most of you have already found your way to the bar queue, the Ripley Bar. Well, full service will be resumed shortly.
Needs to get on this before it goes up. Great take from the fullback there, the 4-4 zone man.
Lads up the park. It's going to be stopped here, but we're going to keep it rolling for about a minute. So we can catch up.
At half-time, just as they did in November when we got that victory down the road.
Well, it was great to get those shots behind the scenes. I'm joined now by Rosslyn Park's Managing Director, Dom Shabbo, who we saw earlier. Dom, just thinking back about that night a year ago, what is your overriding memory of it?
For me personally, I've been at the club for 10 years and I've never seen a club so busy in my time there, and I think it was hands down one of the most memorable evenings for a lot of Rosslyn Park supporters, and thanks to Richmond for coming out in numbers and supporting it. And it was just a brilliant evening from start to finish. Obviously the result definitely helped, but from a club's perspective, it was fantastic to enjoy it and seeing it the rock so busy and rocking.
It was literally. I think if there was a metaphor for the word, if you could put the word rocking in the dictionary, it would probably come up with that photo of Rosslyn Park where Hugo's celebrating. I think, but
it was fantastic.
Yeah, we had to put in. I think in my rugby paper report, we put 2,000, but I think it was more than that, to be sure.
Yeah. So in our from our records, it was about 2,700. We were set some aggressive KPIs, what seemed aggressive from our board for the office to try and deliver, and actually I think we ended up doubling all those
very good.
all those stats that we had to try and do. So from our perspective, it was probably one of the most, as I said a second ago, one of the most memorable evenings that I've ever experienced at the Rock, and as I said, it was a fantastic turnout and smashed every record I've ever been at the clubs. It was fantastic.
Yeah. From your perspective, when did you start thinking about that night? Because the fixtures came out the previous August, so it must have started percolating then.
Yeah, so we Richmond very very good, and obviously you have to agree with the opposition that we can play on a Friday night, and we saw obviously Wales England at Twickenham on the Saturday, so we knew that would affect us massively. So the planning from the event side of things started, as you said, back in probably June 2019. So we started earmarking that as a night that would hopefully deliver as we hoped, and I think everyone would say it did. So it was probably about, as I said, good 8 months of planning.
Yeah, and I mean, with the win at the Rack the previous November, Was it a case that actually it was an event that you didn't have to promote that much because you knew there would already be excitement about it, or is it something you just think you just got to promote it as much as you can anyway to maximise it?
I think there's an element of both. I think, as you said, there was a gravitas to the event as everyone would expect especially when it's Rosslyn Park, Richmond. I think at the RAG that day, as you touched upon in November, it was a very busy crowd as well. We always knew it was going to be busy. We promoted it as you would do, but it surpassed all our expectations in terms of the sort of the online ticket sales and people turning up for the event. So in short, we definitely promoted it as best we could, but it didn't need it too much, but because it already had that gravitas to the event. But it was certainly, as I said, surpassed all our expectations, really.
Now, I heard a story from KP. We didn't quite get to it in the last bit. Apparently, some of the BMS guys, some of our great sponsors that we have there, they came along, and one of the guys, I think he had to go because the bars were so busy because of the enormity of this event. I think in Southwest London, he decided to buy quite a large number of, I think about 60 beers, and he just decided to do it all in one go. I think that shows it's a message that it was such a prominent night for Southwest London Rugby.
Yeah, so BMS are a fantastic supporter of the club, and we thank them for for everything they do. I think there were parts of the night that we'd obviously like to fix, and there was an element of service that we would tweak. But in terms of the guys, just everyone that was at the event just enjoying themselves and getting on with it, I think it was spot on for everyone to enjoy, really. So
yeah, and absolutely, and I mean this event also went beyond the rock as well, because we had social media. I'm just going to throw some stats at you, Dom, if that's okay. We had about 62,000 Twitter impressions, 14,000 on Facebook, 5,000 on Instagram. The live stream had about nearly 5,000 views by the end of the broadcast, reaching 16,000 people. I think, what does that tell us about that National League One rugby itself, and also about this derby?
I think National League One has so much to say for itself, and I think it's probably missed the focus it needs in rugby at the moment. And I think hopefully that night showed that there is a real spectacle below the Championship and below the Premiership. And I'm obviously biased, but I'm a massive advocate for the league, and I think what's going on behind the scenes at the moment to try and promote the league itself is really positive, and hopefully that will come to fruition, and we'll be able to show the league as it was on that night more and more and more. And the stats you just mentioned there speak volumes for the reach you can get through National League One.
I mean, we've seen Richmond today, the promoted side from last season. They played their first game of the Championship season against Hartpury, and that game was live streamed. It must give you some optimism that when rugby does come back, there's going to be interest there, definitely. And we've already seen the great level of support that there is for this level of rugby as well.
Yeah, I'd hope so, and I think people are, with the current situation, are desperate to go and experience live sport, and hopefully we can give people something to come and watch as and when permitted, and we'll be working behind the scenes as soon as we're allowed to deliver that, and hopefully we'll come on to it in a minute, I'm sure, of what we're trying to do in the next few months, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be a fantastic summer, and hopefully in September we'll be able to really show what National One has to offer. Yeah,
you read my mind there, Dom. we did say in the promotion for this event that we did have a club update from yourself, so why don't you go ahead and let us know what is coming up for Rosslyn Park fans?
Yeah, so it's been, as everyone would know, it's been a very rocky 6 months for everyone in below the Championship, and for rugby in general, actually. And so we want to thank our supporters and our members and our fans for everything they've done for us so far, and we wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you very much for that. First of all, I think that's really important to make sure we stress that without our membership, we would this would have been a lot of a tougher journey. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, as we just touched upon, and I think the next 3 months from April are looking quite exciting. The roadmap from the RFU was just announced yesterday, and we are rigorously planning to deliver some exciting events as and when that roadmap and the government's roadmap will allow us to, and hopefully May through to the end of June will show us some really good events.
I mean, we saw some of that.
Quietly optimistic that we'll be able to get.
Sorry, you carry on. I thought.
No, we're quietly optimistic that we'll have a floodlit sevens at the end of June, and we'll be shortly announcing that, and we'll continue to build on the success we had over the last sort of October, November of the events we were running, and we'll be doing everything we can to ensure that there is rugby at the Rock. And with our new arrangement with the London Broncos, we'll definitely be bringing some form of rugby, whether it's rugby league or whether it's rugby union. There will be rugby at the Rock in the next coming months.
Has there been a couple of arguments about union versus league since they've arrived?
No, it's all been very, very good. I think from their side they've been a fantastic addition to the club. They've been welcomed with open arms, and I think there'll be some announcements coming out very shortly about what we're going to be able to do for our membership in terms of what we'll be showing at the Rock, and also from a league perspective and from a rugby union perspective.
Well, we'll look forward to it. I suppose, just as probably one of my last talking points, I suppose, I said it to the other guys, and I'll ask you as well. I mean, a year since we were all at the Rock together. What have you been up to?
Sorry, I just cut out there.
Oh, did I? Oh, sorry. I'll get this microphone fixed. What have you been up to in the last year since the London derby?
We've just been trying to make sure that the club is on a sound financial footing. We've been trying to run throughout the sort of earlier parts of the summer in 2020, sort of as many sort of outdoor events as we could. When we were permitted to run the Ready for Rugby events, we ran as many as we could. And yeah, with the ever-changing sort of conditions we were given, we just had to try and adapt the whole time. And the office has worked incredibly hard to deliver whatever we could to give players, supporters, etc., whatever we could. But it would be lying if I said it wasn't challenging. But we're hopeful that these new sort of this new roadmap will give us a bit more sort of clarity on what we'll be able to do coming forward, and we're really excited about the next 3 months, definitely.
Well, I'm sure I speak for all our Rosslyn Park fans, but we're keeping our fingers tightly crossed to make sure it all goes smoothly, and so we're so excited to be getting back to the Rock. Dom, thank you so much for your time this evening. I'll let you get back to the rest of your weekend. That was our Managing Director of Rosslyn Park, Dom Shabbo. And just before we let him go, I'll just make sure that we got the second half of our Inside Part from that amazing night a year ago. And then after that, we will be showing you a pre-recorded interview with the Slingbacks, who have been doing some incredible work as well. We'll be back shortly.
Right, listen, I tell you what, from last Saturday, 6-day turnaround, the test of the squad in the last couple of weeks, to get that double today is pretty special, alright? Guts, courage, bravery that I asked for out there is there in abundance. The determination you guys keep sticking at it was brilliant, and a complete squad effort. And we go again in a week's time, we go away to Hull. And we kick on, alright? And we keep chasing those down, because God knows what's going to happen in the next couple of games. 2, 3, 4!
Just so happy right now. I mean, the relief in that first half, such a physical battle to come out on top, and then start the second half was pretty tough. Our discipline was the only thing letting us in, and then we finally were patient, let our game play. They weren't really troubling us too much, and finally got that sort of win.
Yeah. On that side. Give it to me. How many hits has he had?
Hey, to give a point.
Well, what a night it was a year ago. It's been great to speak to the guys who've been involved on the pitch and off the pitch. But of course, 365 days since then. But a lot has been happening in terms of Rosslyn Park over the last couple of months with our fantastic women's team, the Slingbacks. They started a campaign called #Rugby for NHS. And it started off with the club captain Sam Emery. It was an idea, and it has just grown and grown and grown. It's been superb to watch. I spoke to Sam. I spoke to the Liz Delves, who's also on the chairman. I spoke to Mohona Bhattacharjee, the committee rep. I spoke to them earlier today, and here is what they had to say. I'm delighted to be joined by the people behind the fantastic #Rugby for NHS campaign. I've got Sam, Liz, and Mohona. Ladies, how are you all this morning?
Good, thank you. Thank you.
It's great to see you all, and it's been fantastic to watch the work you've been doing. Congratulations from me personally. So just well done on it all.
Thanks. It's been really exciting. It obviously sort of started off very, very small, but it's just been brilliant to watch it as it's gone across the country. This really just began with me seeing online some asks on local groups for people to pull together care packages for NHS workers. They had a lot of it at the start of lockdown 1. That seems an eternity ago, only a year ago really, but it just dropped off as everyone just got ground down by the year, to be honest. And it was at a time when the NHS were obviously seeing the worst of the pandemic. And I was just organising a care package for my local hospital, and I thought, hang on a second, I play this fantastic sport that has this awesome community behind it. We can't actually do any of the playing on the pitch that we love, but we can still leverage that sort of unity and that spirit that we have. And that was really how Rugby for NHS was born.
Absolutely. And it became that, like you say, it started from your own experience and it grew into this incredible thing. But Liz, how did that happen? What was the process behind this?
So Sam sort of created a package, and then we were talking about it and sort of said we could probably do more than that. So for me, I put a message on my local area has a group. So I put a message on a Facebook group, and then they all wanted to get involved. So then it kind of snowballed from there. It became actually, we really think people want to be able to do something. Everyone knows the NHS is working really hard, long hours, no breaks. And just to be able to give them something, so whether it's a packet of biscuits or a big hamper full of food, just that ability to do something small or something big, which was really easy and simple to do. And I took mine to my local hospital here in Maidstone, and they were just so grateful to just, lip balms, hand creams, some snacks for when they've got 2 seconds to take a break. Really simple, but really effective, and really brings communities together, not just rugby, as I discovered near me.
Absolutely. I think that has been the beauty of it, because you're able to put it into these 4 simple steps, and that went really well on Twitter. I mean, did you imagine the response that you'd get on social media?
I spent a lot of time harassing people on social media as well, so I was hoping that we
please it.
Yeah, because I think everyone from the England squads, women and men's, got a message from me just saying, hey, can you share this? And a few people did. It was fantastic, but I don't think we realised how big it would get and how many people would take it up. So I'm doing this rugby leadership networking training at the moment, and I was speaking to people from all over the country, and they'd actually heard about it and they were planning to get involved. And when you're talking to people from like Scunthorpe, you don't expect it. So but no, it's been like really fantastic how quickly it's grown, and I'm just happy it's still going as well. Like, it's been a couple months now and it's still going strong.
Sam, it must give you a huge sense of pride to see how this is all grown.
Absolutely. I think the real beauty of this is it just ends up being a sort of triple win. You're there as an individual and as part of a club, able to do something for people in the NHS who have really, really sort of put in the hours, put their lives on the line effectively for us, which is fantastic. But it's been a great opportunity during this really tough period for the sport for the clubs to actually reconnect with their membership. And they're so reliant on things like subs at the moment, when a lot of the usual revenue from bar takings, tournaments, etc. has just dropped off entirely. That's really core and that's really central. But the third side of it is just on. It's been a really tough year, and actually what a lot of people are finding is it's the efforts and the little things that they do to give something back to help others that actually keeps them sort of focused and positive and feeling good, and like we're going to get out of this and happier days will come. So that's why it's almost been the sort of triple win for me. But it's been fantastic. We've had huge support from media, sort of shout outs on the likes of TalkSport, BBC London. So many of the major rugby podcasts have supported, have shared us. Charity Spoon, sort of Wooden Spoon, have recognised us, and they actually had something for Random Act of Kindness Week, which was a little board of 9 things you could do, a little bingo board, and they specifically put give a care package on it, having connected with our campaign. So for a charity like Wooden Spoon that is hugely established across the UK, to see what we're doing and recognise the potential of it was just something else. So that was a real sort of moment of pride for me, and just seeing the excitement from the other teams, the feedback from the other teams has been brilliant, and the types of teams that we've seen get involved have been youth teams, women's teams, men's teams, whole clubs. It's really opening things up and getting people talking at a time when, to be honest, we kind of all ran out of things to say on Zoom calls and the like. So it's been really good.
Absolutely. I mean, like you've alluded to that. It's the word that I think has come out of all this is the community spirit of it all as well. Everyone's been going in. Liz, what does this campaign say about the rugby community and how it's come together during this campaign?
So those of us I've been in the rugby community for 20 odd years, and we know that there is that real sense of team. There's that it's for everyone. It's always said that this is a sport that anyone of any size or shape can play, and it really does speak to that teamwork that we currently can't do. We're all sat here in our own houses. We haven't seen each other for months. We haven't trained in months. That's going to be carrying on for a short while. Hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel. But we are a team because we want to play a team sport. If you wanted to play a personal sport, you could do that yourself. And there is no way for us to get together often. And this is a really easy way to get together with a purpose, so that we can't be together in person, but we can be together with a purpose and feel like you're a team again, feel like you're doing something together. And, actually all these care packages from the same team have gone to different places, but together we've made something happen, and we feel that connection again, I suppose.
Absolutely. We're going to show some highlights alongside this of some of the Instagram story, which you guys have been showing. It's been a great place to see how that national reaction to this campaign as well. But Mohona, has been any, obviously this comes at the time of COVID and putting these care packages together. How has the campaign got around that challenges of COVID?
I think we've been really clear about COVID regulations as well when you're doing this. It's as simple as calling the hospitals that you want to donate to and make sure they're actually receiving care packages, because I think the first one I called actually said, we've got a wish list. Can you just order things off that and send it to us, because the situation is so bad at that hospital. And we've made sure it's somewhere local, and that's what we've done, especially the three of us. So Sam went to a hospital in Blackheath, Liz to Maidstone, and I went to Hillingdon because I live west of London. And it's just making sure it's somewhere local to you. You're not traveling miles and miles, as you shouldn't be during a lockdown, and just sticking to the rules and regulations and make sure your hospitals are open to it. And we found that most hospitals are. I think it's only a couple where the situation is that bad they're not letting anyone else in, and that's when they've got wish lists and things, but there's always a way to donate to them.
Yeah, and like we said, as you said, even when you're able to get through, they really do appreciate it, these hospitals. Absolutely. Don't they, Sam?
Sorry.
That's fine.
they often have their own rules. So when you contact your hospital, some hospitals are quite specific about singularly wrapped biscuits or singularly wrapped snacks, so that COVID wise it's already COVID secure, it can be cleaned and passed on. Other places are slightly less so. So it just depends on the hospital, because they will have their own things in place. And I know that I'm pretty sure Mona's as well. They take that package and then they spread it out into their community bases as well, or their vaccine centres. So it's really good to speak to them, because they'll know exactly what's great for them to hand out.
Absolutely. It's great for everyone to get involved. So Sam, what's the next step now? How do the campaign keep going? What would you say to people who are seeing this at the club and say, I really want to get involved now? What's your message to them?
So I think just don't delay. This was always something that was really about getting the NHS through this awful sort of final winter period, lockdown 3. And as we keep seeing, the message on the TV from the government is it's not over yet. So I think everything that we can do to actually sort of push in the next couple of months to get as many clubs as possible involved, I would really encourage them to do so. We have seen obviously sort of take up from everywhere. We have had governing bodies like the RFU, like the SRU, sharing it out amongst their membership. And the beauty of the whole campaign is that, as well as being able to tailor it to what the local hospital trusts have in terms of policies, the teams can also tailor it in terms of how they approach it. So we've distributed it. We've very much said wherever players are, almost collate local packages near to yourselves. Other people have said, right, for our club, we're going to do a centralised donation page, and then we're going to get one batch of stuff and one individual's going to take it in, or they're going to take it in via a teammate that's an NHS worker. Others have done COVID safe drop-off days where people just sort of pop the boots and things are put in boxes and then sort of sanitised, etc. So there's very much the flexibility to make this work for your own club membership, for your own sort of geographical distribution, and it's really easy. That's been the huge part of this actually taking off, is everyone has a packet of biscuits in a cupboard, or snacks. Everyone can go as part of their normal weekly shop and grab a couple of things, or if there is an Amazon wish list, everyone can do an easy sort of click and purchase. So it's really just getting it together and putting the word out amongst your membership and getting moving on it.
Well, no, I've got a packet of bourbons in the cupboard, so I'm definitely going to get those out and get those in my package. Listen, ladies, thank you so much for your time. If you've been watching this, make sure it's the #Rugby for NHS campaign. Follow the Slingbacks on all their social media channels. And ladies, thank you so much for your time, and keep on doing the great work that you're doing. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a night it's been. It was great to chat to the Slingbacks earlier today. The work they are doing is so vital to help out the local hospitals, and it's something that everyone can get involved in. You just need to go on their Twitter pages. It is the easiest thing in the world to get involved in. And in terms of getting involved, thank you so much for being involved tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this stream with our DoR Kieran Power, our club captain Hugo Ellis, one of our wingers Benji Marfo, Neville Edwards, who left us over the summer but was such a big part of that night, and of course our managing director Dom Shabbo to talk about things off the pitch. And it was great to speak to the Slingbacks, the club captain Sam Emery, the chairman Liz Delves, and the committee rep Mohona Bhattacharjee. And that is basically it in terms of tonight. Thank you so much to the guys that have been watching on. Just a little reminder to you to make sure you tune in to all our social media channels. In the meantime, it's been an absolute pleasure to be involved. I've been Warren Muggleton, and until we see each other again in person, it's been great to share this with you, and it's been really great to put it together, and I hope I'll see you again soon at The Rock. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again later. Bye bye.